Hello and welcome back to Realistic Fishkeeping. This is the fourth episode in the series of how to set up your own fish tank or aquarium. Last week we looked at water testing using a liquid test kit. We got an understanding of water parameters and what they should be, and we added 3 bristlenose plecos. This is what the tank looked like last week, and this is what the tank looks like today. The plants have grown, and the snow white bristlenose plecos have settled in nicely. They're out and about. The bacteria will still be increasing steadily, which means we should be able to add more fish today. So the 2 swordtails I have in here have been bickering for a few days now, and the reason for this is to assert dominance. There's often a hierarchy within a fish tank, but once it's established, the aggression usually subsides. The issue I have is that there are only 2 swordtails in here, so the aggression is focused solely one-on-one, with the more dominant picking on the less dominant. Interestingly, these are both females, and I think adding 1 male would be a good idea. Correct male to female ratios do vary from species to species, but for the majority, you should have more females to males. In the case of these swordtails, I would recommend 1 male to at least 2 females, as males themselves can be quite assertive when it comes to courtship. But I'm going to go with a 1-to-3 ratio. The issue I have is because these fish are rarer, I didn't have the luxury of picking a pair that was similar in size to the ones I already have. These are much smaller. If possible, you should try and get similar sized fish for the same species. But also, when adding new fish, it's important not to buy a fish so small that they become a snack to the current ones. Luckily, these swordtails are large enough that they won't be eaten, but I do suspect that they will be the bottom of the hierarchy and chased for a little while because they are small and new. We're about to add the 2 new swordtails. There is some chasing going on. I'll keep an eye on it and intervene if necessary, but I do suspect it will settle down within a few days. So how do you resolve disputes? By mixing up the hierarchy, adding more fish to diffuse one-on-one cases, but it also should settle down given time. So I promised I would go over what in your fish tank might be changing your water parameters. And it's definitely something to consider when adding decorations. Many ornaments are inert. Things like artificial plants, things made of resin, these won't affect your water parameters. But things get a little bit more tricky when it comes to more natural elements, when we're looking at stones, woods, and anything else natural. On the whole, wood will lower pH, as it's breaking down and releasing acidic tannins. It's usually gradual, and the more wood in the tank, the more of an effect it will have, so a small amount won't make a massive difference. Some stones like slate, lava rock and dragonstone are inert, so won't change the parameters. But stones like Texas holy rock is a type of limestone, and limestone will change the pH as it's alkaline and will release calcium carbonate into the water, which will also affect the KH. If you want to make sure that the rock that you're adding to the aquarium is inert, pour some vinegar onto it. If it fizzes, it's alkaline and will raise the pH and KH. If nothing happens, it's likely inert. Obviously, there are benefits to adding this sort of thing into the fish tank, and that revolves around the fish that you have. Some species like a high pH, so adding limestone would be a perfect solution. Some like low pH, so driftwood can be added. The last thing to mention is the addition of plants that, when healthy, will reduce toxins in the aquarium. However, if they're struggling and they're dying, the opposite could be true. A telltale sign that your plants are struggling is yellowing of the leaves. Some plants require added fertilizer, more light than others. So if you bought a selection like I did at the start, keep an eye on the plants that are doing well and perhaps look at those ones to buy in the future. Any dying plants, you should remove them. There's a lot more that you can add into your aquarium I haven't covered. If you find something and you want to know more about it, do some research. Make sure it's not going to harm your fish first. So anyway, that just about wraps it up for this week. Next week, we'll be looking at the dreaded algae outbreak, how long you should leave your light on for, and we're going to talk a lot more about plants and different types of plant. Until next week, bye for now.